They laughed at her, mocked her for loving a poor tailor with worn-out clothes and quiet dreams. They said she had destroyed her future, choosing love over luxury. Whispers followed her everywhere. She could have married rich. But what if I told you the man they insulted wasn't poor at all? What if the tailor they looked down on was secretly a billionaire fashion king, building an empire in silence? Before we begin, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and watch till the end, because this story will completely change how you see love, faith, patience, and destiny. Amanda was known in the marketplace not for her beauty alone, but for the softness of her heart. Every morning, before the sun fully rose, she helped her mother arrange vegetables on their small wooden stall. Her hands were often tired, her clothes simple, yet her smile never faded. If a hungry child passed by, Amanda would quietly hand them fruit. If an old woman struggled to walk, Amanda was already there, offering her arm. Kindness came naturally to her. It was a language her soul spoke. The market was her world, a world of noise, bargaining voices, and hurried footsteps. But within that chaos, Amanda carried a calm light, one that made people feel seen. Not far from her stall sat a small tailoring shop, barely more than a room with a sewing machine and rolls of fabric stacked unevenly. That was where Tunde worked. He was a quiet man, humble in every way, stitching clothes with patience and care. He was new, unknown, and clearly struggling. Some days, customers were few. Some days, none came at all. Still, he worked with dignity, believing that honest effort would one day find its reward. Their worlds first truly touched on a simple afternoon. A beggar collapsed near the market entrance. Weak, hungry, invisible to most. People passed by, some in a hurry, others pretending not to notice. Amanda was the first to kneel beside him, offering water and bread from her basket. At the same moment, Tunde stepped forward, removing the little food he had saved for himself. Their eyes met, not with words, but with understanding. In that quiet exchange, something rare was born. Not romance yet, but recognition. Two hearts shaped by compassion, drawn together by the same instinct to give. They didn't know it then, but destiny had already begun stitching their lives together, thread by thread. In a world that measured wealth by coins and status, Amanda and Tunde unknowingly proved a deeper truth. Real wealth is not what you own, but who you are. Love did not arrive loudly in Amanda and Tunde's lives. It did not come wrapped in gifts or spoken through grand promises. Instead, it grew quietly, like a seed finding its way through cracks of ordinary days. After that afternoon with the beggar, they began noticing each other more. Amanda would glance toward the small tailoring shop while arranging vegetables, pretending she was just watching the crowd. Tunde, seated behind his sewing machine, would look up whenever he heard her soft laughter drift through the air. Neither of them rushed forward. Neither of them needed to. Something gentle was already unfolding between them. Their first real conversations were simple. A greeting, a question about the day, a shared smile when business was slow for both of them. Over time, those small exchanges turned into longer moments. Sometimes Amanda would bring him leftover food from the market, insisting it would go to waste otherwise. Tunde always hesitated before accepting, his pride quiet but present. When he finally did, he thanked her with a sincerity that stayed with her long after she walked away. They began sharing meals on the steps behind the market, sitting side by side as the sun dipped low. The food was modest, rice, bread, a few vegetables, but it tasted richer in each other's company. They talked about little things at first, the strange customers, the noise of the market, childhood memories that made them laugh. With every shared story, the space between them grew smaller. Tunde rarely spoke about himself, but Amanda listened carefully when he did. She learned that he had come from nothing, carrying only his skills and the stubborn belief that his hands could one day create something meaningful. He dreamed of designing clothes that made people feel confident, respected, seen. Not expensive luxury for the sake of pride, but fashion with purpose and dignity. Most people would have smiled politely at such dreams and dismissed them as unrealistic. Amanda didn't. When Tunde spoke, her eyes never wandered. She didn't interrupt. She didn't laugh. She believed him. Not because he promised success, but because she saw the discipline in his work, the care in every stitch, the fire he tried to hide behind his humility. "You'll get there," she once said simply. Not if, when. That single word stayed with him for days. In return, Tunde admired Amanda in ways he never put into words. He watched how she treated people, how she gave without expecting thanks, how she spoke gently even to those who were harsh. Her beauty wasn't something that demanded attention. It revealed itself slowly, through her patience, her empathy, her quiet strength. To him, she was rare in a world that often felt rushed and careless. Their laughter came easily, sometimes over nothing at all. A misunderstood word, a clumsy moment, a shared joke that no one else would find funny. Those laughs were soft but healing, the kind that made hard days feel lighter. As weeks turned into months, their bond deepened, not through declarations, but through presence. They were there for each other in small, meaningful ways. Amanda encouraged him on days when no customers came. Tunde repaired her mother's old clothes without charge, insisting it was nothing, even though Amanda knew it meant more than he would admit. There were no dates in fancy places, no expensive gifts, no promises of forever. And yet, what they shared felt complete. Love, they discovered, did not need luxury to grow. It needed honesty, time, trust. Some evenings, they spoke about the future, not in details, but in feelings. A hope for stability, a wish for peace, a life built on respect rather than status. Amanda never asked how much money he would make. Tunde never questioned whether she deserved more. They accepted each other as they were, not as who the world expected them to become. Unnoticed by most, something beautiful was taking shape. Two people walking side by side, two hearts learning the rhythm of one another, two souls choosing connection over comfort. The world around them remained the same, judging, rushing, measuring worth by wealth. But within their quiet corner of existence, something stronger than money was forming. Hope and love, real love, was no longer just a feeling. It was a choice they made silently every single day. The market had always been noisy, but lately, Amanda felt as though every sound carried a sharper edge. Whispers followed her steps. Laughter lingered a little too long. Eyes watched her not with warmth, but judgment. It began subtly. A friend leaned in one afternoon, pretending concern. "Is it true?" she asked, lowering her voice while her eyes sparkled with curiosity. "You and that tailor?" Amanda nodded, unsure why her chest tightened at such a simple question. The smile that followed was not kind. Soon, subtlety disappeared. Women in the market no longer waited for Amanda to walk away before speaking. They laughed openly now, their words cutting through the air like blades. She could have married well. One scoffed loudly. "All that beauty, wasted on a poor tailor," another added, shaking her head as if mourning a tragedy. Customers joined in too. Some refused to buy from her stall, whispering that she had no self-respect. Others smirked as they paid, offering unsolicited advice disguised as wisdom. "Love doesn't fill an empty stomach," one man said cruelly. "Think of your future," another warned. "You'll regret this." Every insult landed somewhere deep inside her, places she didn't even know could hurt. The worst moments were the public ones. Once, as Amanda handed vegetables to a customer, a group of women burst into laughter behind her. "Look," one of them said loudly, pointing toward Tunde's shop. "There's your king, sewing dreams with broken needles." The laughter echoed. People stopped to watch. Some laughed. Others simply stared. Amanda felt her face burn. Her hands trembled. For a moment, she wanted to disappear. She looked toward Tunde's shop. He had heard it all. Their eyes met across the crowd. Pain flashed across his face. Quick, restrained, but it was enough. Amanda felt it as if it were her own. That hurt her more than the insults ever could. That night, she cried alone. Not because she doubted her love, but because the cruelty felt endless. Because standing firm required a strength she didn't always feel she had. Because loving someone good should not come with so much shame. The gossip grew darker with time. People invented stories. They said Tunde was using her. that he would abandon her once she had nothing left to give. That Amanda was foolish, blind, desperate. Her name became entertainment in the marketplace, a cautionary tale told with laughter. Some days, Amanda walked home with her head held high. Other days, she walked faster, eyes fixed on the ground, tears threatening to spill. Still, she never turned away from Tunde. But pressure has many voices, and one of them came from home. Her mother noticed a change before Amanda spoke a word. The quiet dinners, the distant eyes, the weight that sat heavy on her daughter's shoulders. One evening, as they cleaned the stall together, her mother finally asked, "Amanda, are you sure about this path you're choosing?" The question was gentle, but it carried years of fear. Amanda froze. She had prepared herself for judgment from strangers, but not from the woman who raised her. Her voice trembled as she answered, "I am, Mama." Her mother sighed deeply and sat down. "Love is beautiful," she said softly, "but life is not kind to those without means. I don't want to see you suffer." Amanda knelt beside her. Tears filled her eyes, but her voice was steady. "He is kind," she said. "He is honest. He works harder than anyone I know. When the world ignores the weak, he helps them. When others laugh, he remains gentle. If that isn't worth standing beside, then what is?" Silence filled the room. Her mother looked at her daughter, really looked at her, not the girl she used to protect, but the woman she had become, stronger than she realized, braver than she knew. "I'm afraid for you," her mother admitted, "but I see your heart, and I trust it." That night, for the first time in weeks, Amanda felt relief. The world could mock her. Strangers could humiliate her. But she was no longer standing alone. The next day, the market was no kinder. A woman spat harsh words in her direction. A customer laughed openly when Amanda defended Tunde's work. Someone muttered that she would come crawling back in regret. Amanda felt the pain, but she no longer let it bend her spine. She stood straighter now. Her voice no longer shook when she spoke of him. When they insulted Tunde, she met their eyes and said, "You see poverty. I see dignity." Not everyone listened, but some did. And even when no one did, Amanda remained loyal to her love, to her values, to quiet truth she carried in her heart. Because strength is not loud, loyalty is not easy, and love, when tested by injustice, reveals its truest form. The laughter continued. The gossip spread. But so did something else. Unseen, unmeasured, unstoppable. Amanda's resolve. And though the world tried to shame her for loving a poor tailor, she chose to walk forward with her head high, knowing that character, not comfort, was the future she had chosen, even if the cost was pain. The market had never felt so hostile. What was once Amanda's second home had slowly transformed into a stage, one where cruelty performed freely and compassion had no audience. Every step she took now fell heavier, as if the ground itself had turned against her. Whispers no longer followed her quietly. They chased her openly, sharp and relentless. That morning, the mockery reached a level it never had before. It began with laughter, loud, intentional, cruel. A group of women stood near her stall, not bothering to lower their voices. One of them pointed toward Tunde's shop and laughed. "Look at him," she said, "still stitching like it will make him rich one day." Another added, "And look at her, standing there like a queen beside a beggar." The laughter exploded. Customers stopped. Passers-by slowed their steps. A crowd formed, not out of concern but curiosity. Someone repeated the insult louder. Someone else clapped sarcastically. Amanda felt her chest tighten. She tried to ignore it. She focused on her hands, on the vegetables in front of her, on her breathing. But the words kept coming. Does love pay rent? Will romance feed your children? Such a shame. Such a waste. Then someone crossed the line. A man stepped forward, sneering openly. "Hey, Taylor's bride," he said loudly, "when are you getting married? Or are you waiting until he can afford a ring made of thread?" The crowd roared with laughter. That was when Amanda felt something inside her crack. Her vision blurred. Her hands trembled. The noise around her faded into a dull roar as the weight of weeks, months, of humiliation crashed down all at once. She had stood firm for so long. She had endured quietly. But strength, no matter how deep, has limits. Tears spilled before she could stop them. She turned away, covering her face, her shoulders shaking. The laughter didn't stop immediately. Some people laughed harder. Others grew uncomfortable, suddenly aware that they had gone too far. Amanda walked away from the stall blindly, pushing through the crowd, her sobs no longer silent. She didn't care who saw her now. She just needed air, space, relief from the cruelty that refused to end. She didn't realize where she was going until she stopped. She was standing in front of Tunde's shop. He had witnessed everything. The laughter, the insults, her breaking point. Tunde stood frozen behind his sewing machine, his fists clenched so tightly his knuckles had turned white. He had endured mockery his entire life. He had learned how to swallow humiliation, how to let insults pass through him without response. But seeing Amanda reduced to tears, because of him, felt unbearable. Amanda collapsed onto the small stool near his shop, her face buried in her hands. Her sobs echoed in the quiet space, raw and uncontrollable. "I tried," she cried through her tears. "I tried to be strong. I tried not to care. But it hurt so much." Tunde moved toward her slowly, as if afraid one wrong step would shatter the moment. He knelt in front of her, his voice trembling. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I never wanted this for you." She looked at him then, her eyes red, filled with pain and exhaustion. "I don't regret loving you," she said, "but I don't know how much more I can endure." That was when something changed in him. For the first time, Tunde did not look like a man struggling to survive. His eyes hardened, not with anger, but with resolve. The quiet patience he had carried for years transformed into something heavier, determined, final. He gently took her hands in his. "Listen to me," he said, his voice low but steady. "This will not continue." Amanda shook her head weakly. "They'll never stop," she whispered. "People like them don't." "They will," he said. "After today." She looked at him, confused. "I promise you," he continued, his grip tightening just enough for her to feel his certainty, "everything is about to change." Her heart skipped. "What do you mean?" For a moment, Tunde hesitated. There was something in his expression Amanda had never seen before, a mix of pain, reluctance, and quiet power. He looked away, as if weighing a decision he had delayed for far too long. "I was trying to protect something," he said slowly. "Trying to protect us." "From what?" she asked. "From the world," he replied. "From greed. From expectations. From people who only see value in money." Her confusion deepened. "Tunde, what are you saying?" He stood up, pacing the small space, running a hand through his hair. "I want to be sure," he said. "Sure of you. Sure of love. Sure that what we had was real, not drawn to status, not tempted by comfort." Amanda rose unsteadily to her feet. Her tears had slowed, replaced now by uncertainty. "You're scaring me," she admitted. He stopped pacing and faced her. "There's something you don't know about me," he said. Her breath caught. "What?" she asked. For a long moment, he said nothing. The sounds of the market crept back in voices, footsteps, distant laughter. The same world that had just torn her apart continued on, unaware that a truth was about to surface. "I didn't lie to you," he said carefully, "but I didn't tell you everything either." Amanda searched his face, her heart pounding. "Why?" "Because I needed to know," he answered, "if you would still choose me when I had nothing." Silence fell between them. "What are you hiding?" she whispered. Tunde took a deep breath. "Tomorrow," he said finally, "I will show you, and I will show them." Her pulse raced. "Show us what?" "The truth," he replied. "The one I've kept hidden for years." Amanda's mind raced with questions, fear, disbelief. But before she could speak again, voices rose outside. More people had gathered, curious, whispering again. Tunde looked past her, out toward the market. The place that had judged him, mocked him, reduced him to nothing. He straightened his back. "No more," he murmured. Amanda felt it then, an unfamiliar tension in the air, a sense that something enormous was about to unfold. The man she thought she knew stood before her, still humble, still gentle, but carrying a secret heavy enough to shift everything. "What will happen tomorrow?" she asked quietly. He met her gaze, his eyes calm now. "Tomorrow," he said, "they will learn who I really am." And for the first time since the tears began, Amanda felt something stir beneath the heartbreak. Anticipation. The market buzzed with cruelty and ignorance, unaware that its laughter was living on borrowed time, because the breaking point had been reached. And nothing, absolutely nothing, would remain the same after the truth was revealed. The next morning, the market opened like any other day, loud, chaotic, unaware that history was about to be rewritten. Then the sound came, low, powerful, unmistakable. One by one, luxury SUVs rolled into the narrow streets of the market, their polished black surfaces reflecting stunned faces. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Bargaining voices fell silent. People turned confused, curious, uneasy. The vehicles stopped. Doors opened. Men in tailored suits stepped out, confident, composed, important. They didn't look like customers. They looked like people who own worlds. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Who are they? Is someone important coming?" Then he appeared. Tunde stepped forward. But this was not the man they thought they knew. Gone was the bowed posture, the quiet, shrinking presence. He wore a perfectly fitted suit, simple, elegant, powerful. His walk was steady. His eyes were calm, commanding. The same man, yet transformed, as if the world was finally seeing him in his true light. The market froze. Amanda stood among the crowd, her breath caught in her chest. She recognized him instantly, but still her heart raced. There was a strength around him now, an authority that could not be questioned. One of the suited men spoke loudly, clearly. "Allow me to introduce Mr. Tunde Khan, founder and owner of one of the largest fashion empires in the country." Silence. The words took a moment to land. Then chaos, gasps, hands covering mouths, faces draining of color. The same people who had mocked him, the women who laughed, the men who insulted, stood frozen in disbelief. Shame crept into their expressions as memories of their cruelty replayed before them. Some looked away. Others stared at the ground, unable to meet his eyes. Tunde spoke then, his voice calm but firm. "I started from nothing," he said, "and I hid everything, my wealth, my name, because I wanted to know who would value me without it." His eyes searched the crowd until they found Amanda. And she did. The crowd parted as he walked toward her. Every step felt like justice unfolding. He stopped in front of her, his expression softening in a way only she could see. He lowered himself to one knee. Gasps echoed again. "Amanda," he said, loud enough for all to hear, "you stood by me when the world mocked us. You chose my character over comfort, my heart over status. You believed in me when no one else did." He took out a ring, simple yet radiant. "Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Amanda's face, not from pain this time, but from fulfillment, from victory earned through patience and loyalty. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, stronger, asterisk, asterisk, "yes." Applause erupted. Some clapped in celebration. Others clapped in regret. The market that once laughed now stood as a witness to justice. Love had won. Character had triumphed. And those who mocked learned too late. True wealth reveals itself only after the test is complete. She didn't fall in love with wealth. She fell in love with character. And destiny rewarded her courage. This story reminds us that true love sees beyond appearances, beyond poverty, beyond mockery. Never underestimate humble beginnings, because the future may be richer than you can imagine. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more powerful emotional stories. See you in the next one.